Up next on Eco Company.
We are known all over for the best fried chicken you can find.
We're headed into the kitchen, and while our nose may want this, we're here for this. It's grease being used for more than you might think.
Plus,
all this that people have thrown out is just staying here, never being used again.
Yeah, it's designed to be here forever.
it's a no man's land for our trash. But there's much more here than meets the eye.
And tossed out a gadget lately? Make sure it ends up in a place like this. We're braving the dust to see what happens to our e-waste.
How many 23s do we have?
And want to know how to green up your home? These guys can help. It's Teens to the Rescue. Eco Company starts now.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Eco Company.
The green revolution for our generation.
This week, as you can see, we're taking these things on the road. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Brendan. These are Segways.
They use electricity, not gas, to move us around.
Adam and Jordan have already hit the road.
Woo! These things are fierce.
These are so fun.
And they're 11 times as energy efficient as your average car.
On the positive side, the fuels for our cars are getting cleaner and greener.
We found one that's coming straight out of the frying pan. It may not look pretty, but this stuff cooks up some tasty fried chicken. Restaurants everywhere use gallons of it each week.
We are known all over for the best fried chicken you can find because of my recipe. So that takes a lot of oil. We deep fry it, and of course, we use a lot of oil.
The problem is, in many cases it gets thrown out, causing big problems for sewage systems. But in some cities, it's getting a second use, after the fryer.
They donate their cooking oil, and we're able to have that turned into biodiesel to then run our city fleet.
Carrie Ving is the biofuels coordinator for the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission.
We've got 700 restaurants, hotels, churches, ships donating cooking oil. We come by and pick it up, bring it back to this transfer station, and it gets sent over to local biodiesel manufacturers and converted into biodiesel.
Biodiesel is a fuel that's better for the environment than your standard petroleum gasoline. It produces less harmful CO2 emissions.
Biodiesel is made from organic matter, typically vegetable oil. So that could be soybean oil, canola oil, grown from virgin crops, but it can also be used oil. So after it's cooked in a fryer, it's still worthy of biodiesel.
Workers pick up the oil for free and haul it here. Then, it's carefully unloaded into these containers where it sits a while before heading off to a biodiesel plant for processing.
So this is our first stop, and these are full of kitchen oil?
Right. From restaurants, there are commercial kitchens with the fryers, residential kitchens, usually donated in coffee cans, Wesson jars, and all of this is used for either biodiesel or methane, two biofuels.
Methane is also produced during this process, and it's used to power an electric plant. Who knew cooking grease could do all this?
It's something that people generally throw away. They're tempted to pour it down the sink a lot of times, and our message is, please don't do that. We're running out of petroleum diesel. We need to be more conscious of where we're getting our fuels, and here's an opportunity to harvest urban fuel.
So we're at the end of the road here. This is where biodiesel meets the customer.
Filling up with biodiesel is an idea more and more drivers are warming up to. Eric Smith, the executive director of the nonprofit Green Depot, is one of them.
I was filling up with some delicious B100 biodiesel and dropping off some of my leftover cooking grease.
So what exactly is B100?
B100 is the designation for pure biodiesel. That's biodiesel that doesn't have any petroleum in it. Say, for example, B20 would be 20% biodiesel and 80% petroleum.
Smith's not the only one doing drop-off on this day.
My wife and I, every year, we deep fry turkeys So we have generally about 5 or 6 gallons of oil left every year, and I didn't know what to do with it.
Good thinking.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I didn't want to pour down down a drain. Just seems like the right thing to do.
I've learned to appreciate grease today. And how do you feel to be part of this program?
Well, it's wonderful because it's free, and that's good for small businesses, small restaurants.
Food for thought the next time you're dining out.
The phrase for us is anything pourable. Don't pour it down the drain, pour it into a container, save it for a local drop-off, or if you're a restaurant, we'll come by and pick it up. And we'll take anything, essentially. The message is, don't throw it away, we want it.
Say cheese.
So you've heard about cooking oil being turned into fuel. Now let's talk about trash.
I visited a place where our garbage ends up, and you'll be surprised what they're doing with it.
Trash. We create a lot of it. In fact, Americans throw out an average of 5 pounds a day.
Still, a lot of people don't really know where their waste goes and where it ends up, and this is where your trash ends up.
The Altamont landfill in Livermore, California, about 5,000 tons of garbage is trucked in each and every day.
Roughly about 1.5 million tons of waste comes in here every year. I personally would like to see less organics in the landfill, less recyclables in the landfill. There's a lot of materials that are commingled with other wastes that come in here that don't need to come in here.
Ken Lewis is the Director of Disposal Operations for Waste Management, the company that runs this landfill.
We're standing on a couple 100 feet of trash right now that was built up over a period of about 15 or 20 years. Overall, there's about 55 million tons of trash at this location already in place that has been placed here since the early 1980s.
We're watching dirt being put over the landfill. What's going on?
Well, after the waste is placed and compacted, we cover the landfill with a layer of dirt to seal it off from the environment.
Forever?
Yeah, that way we can capture the landfill gas that comes out of the waste and use it to make power and other things.
None of this comes out. All of this that people have thrown out is just staying here, never being used again?
Yeah, it's designed to be here forever. Doesn't ever leave.
That landfill gas he's talking about is made up partly of methane. It's a greenhouse gas that's bad for the planet if left to escape into the atmosphere, but that's not happening here.
Any landfill, when the waste is in place, will produce landfill gas, which is a flammable gas, and if properly collected and piped to a facility, it can be used to generate power. At this facility, we've been generating about 8 megawatts of power since the late 1980s, which is enough power to power about 7,000 to 10,000 homes in our communities that we serve.
They're also doing something else state-of-the-art here.
Right now, they're converting their trash into energy right behind me.
This is the largest landfill gas to liquefied natural gas production facility in the world.
Here they're turning landfill gas into fuel for vehicles.
Well, what we do in this facility is we take the landfill gas, extract it from the landfill, cool it down, clean it up, and produce liquefied natural gas. It's essentially the same as what you burn in your household. After we extract the landfill gas from the landfill, we clean it up, compress it, and then send it into what we call the cold box, where it's compressed and cooled down to a liquid, and then sent off to the storage facility.
That's pretty cold. It's sent off to the storage facility. Where does it go from there?
Well, we load it into large trucks and send it to our collection companies, where we use it as a fuel in the trash trucks that you see out on the street.
So you turn garbage into fuel for garbage trucks.
Yeah, it is closing the loop and using the trash to create fuel for the trash trucks.
Full cycle.
Full cycle.
The plant produces 13,000 gallons a day of this clean burning fuel. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions by 30,000 tons a year. So from trucking in tons of trash into the landfill, creating a cleaner burning fuel, and producing electricity, it just goes to show.
One person's trash is another person's gold, and this is a very valuable resource to the communities they're a part of, in the sense that they can really produce a lot of power and benefit to the process.
Did you know that paper accounts for more than half of waste in all landfills? Here are a couple tips we can use to conserve. Become a better student. Use less paper. Make sure you spell check, proofread, and format your papers before you print them. This is an eco-friendly way to use less paper and save money on ink. When you do print, always print double-sided. If your printer doesn't allow double-sided printing, you can do it manually and cut the number of pages you use in half. And of course, put all paper products in your recycling bin. Reduce the number of trees that get cut down by giving paper a chance at a second life. No matter what you do, be eco-wise and be a part of the solution.
Segways are easy to ride, but safety comes first.
Coming up, it's behind the scenes for our riding lesson.
Plus, ever think about where your old gadgets are going?
Plastic, metal, glass, circuit boards, and wood waste.
It's a toxic mess that these guys are taking care of for us.
And later, go Team Green.
Is there a leak? Is there? Oh, we have a winner. No leak.
How these guys are saving the planet, one house at a time.
Being good to the planet is easy. It's about taking simple steps, like not driving so much.
Another big way to help is recycling. This week we're talking about your electronics.
That's right. Everything from old computers to these guys. And Jessica's found a place that's using them all.
Cell phones. What will we do without them? Or technology in general? But have you ever thought about what happens to our gadgets when we're done with them? We're here to find out. It's a side to our high-tech wizardry that you've probably never seen. A graveyard of sorts for our old electronics.
E-waste, electronic waste, is defined as an electronic device that has become obsolete or at its end of life, such as computers, televisions, monitors, phones, fax, printers, almost anything you can imagine that has a power cord or an on and off button.
Erin Driscoll works for E-Recycling of California, a company that's giving our outdated gadgets new life.
Electronic waste is extremely important to recycle because it can prevent unnecessary waste from entering the landfill, first of all, or from being shipped overseas where it's improperly disposed of. And also we can reuse several of the commodities that are in these electronics, like plastic and glass and metal. We have a collection activity where we transport it to the facility. It gets inventory managed so we know at any point what's going on, where it came from, the weight of the material, and then it goes through the demanufacturing process. The demanufacturing process, we can get plastic, metal, glass, circuit boards, and wood waste.
Everything that can be recycled to become something new gets put on a truck and sent on its way.
We have a baler for all the plastic, so once it gets separated, it can come together and then go to a place that manufactures a new plastic product. And we also crush glass on site here, which is then processed into a new monitor or television.
How much of this do you get annually?
Between our two facilities, we process about 30 million pounds of waste a year.
And just think all of that could go into our landfills.
Right, and that's our goal, is to divert 100% of electronic waste from the landfill. I don't think many understand that, what we're doing here with all the breakage and sending out raw commodities.
We toss between 300 and 400 million tech gadgets every year. But the Environmental Protection Agency estimates only about 14% of that is recycled. The rest ends up in landfills. And that's a big problem.
The main reason is because of the lead. The lead is toxic, it's a carcinogen, and we don't want it to end up in our ground supply, air supply, or water supply. By entering the landfills, that's what it does. By sending it here to a processing facility, we can completely divert that problem.
The biggest source of lead? These guys.
We're processing old TVs and computer monitors.
So what's the big concern with TVs?
Well, TVs and computer monitors are called cathode ray tubes, or CRTs, and they have a lot of lead. They have about 7 to 10 pounds worth of lead in that glass.
This machine helps crush the glass in the cathode ray tubes. Safety goggles and protective gear required.
By properly disposing of it here via crushing and then sending out to a facility where they remanufacture the equipment, we can reuse it and not send it to the landfill.
Another big landfill no-no, computers. So these are a lot of circuit boards here. What happens to them?
Well, this is an example of our high-grade circuit board, which comes out of a computer tower. They dismantle it here. It can actually go further into a shredder and then into a metal refinery where they can get the precious metals off of this. So there's copper, there's gold, there's silver. There's a lot of things that they can reuse again from this.
So how about these? What are these called?
Those are called ribbon cables, and they're inside of a computer tower, just similar to the circuit boards. Basically, this is 100% recycled because they can take the plastic and put it with that, as well as some of the copper wiring. They can shred that and use it for the copper inside there, and it separates it from the plastic.
So this is all like reusable again?
Everything here is 100% recyclable.
So the next time you toss out one gadget for a new one, think about what it's made of, whether it's computer circuitry, glass, wood, or plastic.
It's extremely important to dispose of your electronic waste properly because it's toxic. By not sending it to the landfill, we can reuse the products that would then just sit and not do anything.
It's reused the way recycling was intended.
Since we're on the subject, listen to this.
These things have high-tech gyroscopes.
They monitor your balance 100 times a second.
We're gonna take off now, but coming up next,
It's lights out.
How many 23s do we have?
I think we have 10.
how these teens are showing homeowners a thing or two about greening up the place they call home.
More Eco Company is next.
All right, it's official. Segways are a blast to ride.
And they can run up to 24 miles on a battery charge.
It charges every time you use the brakes.
Being energy efficient is what it's all about these days, especially where we live. We ran into a group of teens helping homeowners green up home sweet home. It's a new kind of house call, one that saves you money, helps the environment, and supports young people. Teens, energy specialists, you bet, and they could be coming to a neighborhood near you. In Northern California, these teens are learning how to save money, energy, and water, and teach homeowners how to do it too. It's thanks to a program called California Youth Energy Services. Alex Smith is a site manager. So what's a home audit?
Well, basically we go through your home and go room to room and see where you use energy and water and find out how much of it you're using and see if we can lower that for you.
Is there a selection process that you go through to select them, or how does this work?
It's pretty rigorous. They go through interview process just like a very professional job, because that is one of the goals, is to teach professionalism, and that's why we like to interact with the clients.
First up, teens like Amber Reeves study up on all their eco facts.
I haven't known anything about conserving energy or water until I came to this job, but now if you ask me, I'm like an encyclopedia about it all, so it's pretty neat.
After arming themselves with backpacks full of CFLs and everything else they need, it's time to hit the road.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Amber. This is my partner, Jenny. We're with California Youth Energy Services, here to answer your free greenhouse call.
Okay. First up, a look around to get the lay of the land.
When we go in the house, the youth are looking for different kinds of incandescent light bulbs, shower heads, aerators for the sink in the bathroom. They even check the toilet for leaks.
They'll be back later. But now, our teen energy specialists move on to water fixtures, like shower heads and faucets.
So what we're doing now is measuring how much water you use per minute in gallons.
If too much water is being used, they install aerators. They save water by pumping air into the water stream, so you still get the pressure without using as much water. They also install a clothesline outside to use instead of a dryer, and they're not done yet.
4174.
Right now, we're just doing an exterior survey of the house, weather stripping, and if there's an unshaded portion of roof, which most time there is, just to see if we can install solar paneling later. It's nice to see that there's a big, fat water heater blanket. That's always good to see.
Back inside, it's time to change out all of the old incandescent light bulbs for newer, compact fluorescents. Finally, it's time to do a final check in the bathroom and that potentially leaky toilet.
Is there a leak? Oh, we have a winner. No leak.
Phew, that's why they call it a wrap.
Overall, it went well. We exchanged a whole lot of light bulbs, almost depleted our whole supply. Changed a few aerators, we're about to install a clothesline.
It was a great experience for you.
It was wonderful.
Very knowledgeable too.
Yes, they learned a lot, it sounds like, from this place. So, and they gave me some good information too.
So, I mean, when we get to install a lot, when we get to tell people something that they don't know, that's what makes it a good greenhouse cause.
That's it for us. Thanks for tuning in this week.
Don't forget to green up your ride wherever you are.
For more on the show, check out eco-company.tv.
We'll see you next time.
One at a time.